So with a round of applause, let's welcome our guest lecturer for today, Professor Enoch Antwi.
So it's a beautiful Friday afternoon, and I think every good weekend begins with the Fridays, right? So that you can have fun, enjoy life. Because Sundays seem to be tied to Mondays. And the weekends seem to be too short. It's like made in China products, right? They don't last. So today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is, do you like the way you are becoming? I will need the IT guy to come and project what I have. The best way to know a person is to ask them to tell you about themselves. That is why when you go to any interviews, we ask you to introduce yourself first. Because that's the best way to know you. Now, most of you know me as a Dean of Business and Communication Arts. What you don't know about me is what I'm going to tell you first. And then we talk about you. But I want to make a statement, a bold statement, that who I am is not as important as who you are. Is that clear enough? Until I came to Academic City, you only see me on TV and radio. You will never see me. In fact, I spend about 97% of my time alone. So if I go to a place, it means I have intentionally wanted to be there. So I grew up like any of you. My son is in high school, university like you guys, so I take you all as my son or my daughter. And we're going to have a conversation. So many years ago, not in Bethlehem, but in Ghana, you will catch my jokes very soon. Yes, so I grew up from a broken home. So my parents separated when I was 12 years, and we were 5. In fact, my father decided to do politics. So he wrote about governments, and that was the military government. And because of that, when we were in the house, soldiers would surround the house at night, start shooting, and then they would catch my father and use the boot of a gun to hit him until he started coughing blood, and they would take him away. It happened 3 times. And my mother complained that this thing that you are doing is not going to help you, so stop. And my father said, that is my passion. That's what I want to do. So it ended in a divorce. Being the oldest, my mother called me. So we were in Domahinkro, if anybody knows Domahinkro. That is where we were. My father stayed for about 25 years. And then we came back to Koforidia in the eastern region where we come from. Now, when we came back on Friday. The Sunday morning, my mother called me and said, Kwame, we need to talk. Your father is gone. We don't know where the army have taken him to. And you are the oldest of my 5 kids. Today, I'm telling you, I will never marry again. You are going to be our father and everything. If you fail, we all die. And at that age of 14, leadership was entrusted in me. So I was a full professor of leadership. I studied psychology. I studied leadership for my master's and PhD leadership. I have traveled all over the world teaching leadership. And like I said, until I came to Academic City, you only see me on radio and TV talking about governance and leadership, because that's my passion. And growing up, I attended school with a lot of people. And today, if I go back and see some of them, how life has whooped them, they look so old, dejected, worn out. And then you ask yourself, what happened? And that comes from this topic that I'm so passionate about. Let your life speak. There are many leaders, And there are people who are leaders without titles. In our communities, you will see somebody who is a security man, but that person is more respected than somebody who is a nurse. It is not the title that matters. It is how you build your life and the legacy that you leave. So I finished high school. I went to university. I went to University of Cape Coast, where I was a student leader. Then after that, I was a morning show host on radio. Then I had a call one morning when I was at the studio that we need you at the German embassy. So I went there and they interviewed me for 8 hours and gave me a position as a consultant for the German Technical Corporation in the whole of Volta region. I had just finished university. So I worked with the German government for 3 years, and I decided to go back to US to study. And I spent 20 years there until I came back just a year ago. So this is my full second year in Ghana. And for 20 years, this is going to be my second Christmas here. I've taught at 5 different universities. I've been a manager with Pearson. And all the universities that I taught, I'm the only black professor. In fact, where I've stayed, my family were the only blacks. So I'm going to tell you about life, how it is. I'll tell you stories because great leaders tell stories. And then quickly I'll go through, it's just 10 slides and we're done. So that you can ask me questions. I like Q&As. Ask me questions and then I'll give you answers. From life, from profession and experience. So recently there was a board. Since I came, about 10 organizations have put me into their board. And I don't have time. Everybody wants a piece of me. So I went to this board meeting, and then I realized that they are paying themselves every Christmas $2.2 million for hampers. And that organization is making a lot of losses. So looking at their papers, their accounts, I told them that, look, I think we need to do something about your accounts here. I called the accountant. He said, sir, I'm doing what the law asked me to do. I put revenue on the right side. I put expenditure on the left side. And then I determine whether there's a profit or loss. I said, okay. You are putting loans on revenue side. But do you realize that loans is not income? You have gone to the bank to borrow money, and you are putting it as an income. No, you are even going to pay that back with interest. And he said, well, that's what the law says. Look, the law will never tell you that everything on your account should go to either the left or the right. You have to use common sense. And by the way, let's look at the way we can reduce these hampers every Christmas. 2.2 million for this organization. He said, no, you can't touch it. The board chair told me, Prof, we can't touch this because every employee wants this Christmas hampers. I said, okay, let's go to the labor law. The labor law says guarantees only 2 things in Ghana, your salary and your annual leave. The rest is not guaranteed. Even your job is at will. It means they can fire you anytime and you can also quit anytime. Just give them some notice. He said, no, you can't touch it. I said, okay, then we might have to fire the board chair here before I leave. He looked at me and said, seriously? I said, yes. If you're a board chair and you are running an organization that is incurring losses for the past 7 years, why are you here? He said, well, then I'll have to resign. I said, oh, that's good news for me. But when you resign, go tell your wife the truth, that we are paying you salaries, and then you are getting your annual leave, but you were fighting for hampers. And then the company said no. So because of that, you quit your job. Tell your wife the truth for me. He looked at me and said, how am I going to tell my wife this? He said, well, I need you to tell your wife the truth, that you are being greedy here. Some of you think that when organizations are hiring, they have some money sitting down and then you go and tell them, I need 5,000 Ghana cedis every month, and then they pay you when you are not contributing anything. Well, I have news for you. Any organization throughout the world, before they hire you, if they are paying you 5,000 Ghana cedis a month, your output should be bringing in 15,000. You should pay them 3 times what they give you. That is why they hired you. So cost accountant will cost your value before they can place a value on you that we are paying you this much. If you cannot meet that target, you're fired. In fact, in the advanced world, it's easy. In America, if you are late, just three times in a whole year, you are fired. And if you are supposed to clock in at 8 a.m., the clock at the gate is set up at 7:55, not the 8. So if you clock in at 8, you are already late. So 1 gone, 2 left. You'll be fired. So let me go back to my topic. Those you started primary school with, not all of them are here with you. And those that you are starting your university education with, some all of them who are going to be here with you. In fact, some will die along the way. Truth, right? Death is imminent. Some will go on to become presidents. Some will branch into all their passion. All the fingers are not equal. Some are taller than the others, but refuse to be the shortest. Do all you can to grab whatever you can at this time. Because if you waste time, time will waste you. All the friends that you make here, you will lose most of them by the time you leave the walls of this university. When you learn how to do your masters, you will meet another friends. If you continue to do your PhD, you meet another friends. And the higher you go, the higher your partner will be. So if you want to upgrade yourself and you have friends who are not helping you, think about something. I am somebody who just listens. And it's because one of my friends who is a professor had a card from Mother Teresa's business card. And we know what Mother Teresa did, taking care of those who have leprosy in India. And the card at the back had this inscription: only the silent hears. Only the silent hears. So sometimes you need to go to the balcony in the dark when the lights are off or where there's no light. Close your eyes and reflect on your life. Do I like who I'm becoming? Do you like the grace that you are getting? Do you like the kind of friends that you have? Do you like the way you show ingratitude to your parents? Do you like the way that you don't give, you are always receiving from others? Ask yourself, do I like the way I am becoming? And that is the question most people in the developing world, we don't ask ourselves. Do we even like the way our countries are becoming? And nobody seems to say anything. And who says students cannot do anything? You seen what is going on in Gaza? Israel and the Palestinians. Have you seen students in US protesting every day? Watch CNN and you see that if you're a student, it doesn't mean that your mouths are closed. You are the future leaders. In fact, university is the only place we incubate new ideas. So if you are here and you cannot question the fundamentals of what is going on, then where can you do it? So this is somebody I like so much, Palmer Parker. And he has a book, Let Your Life Speak, Listening to the Voice of Vocation. 2,800 years ago, the Greek had a game, and they decided to turn their game into what they called Olympic Games. Every year they will meet and compete, the games that they understand. Yes, now we are all competing in Olympic Games, right? It is no more theirs. It now belongs to the world. So think about an idea that you can have that the whole world can benefit from it. Mark Zuckerberg is not better than you. He was at Cornell a few years ago. There was a simple book. Everybody goes and then you put in your name. Book, your name and then your whole number. Just in case somebody is coming to look for you, they will know that where you are, your hall, and then your room number. He went to write his name, the book wasn't there. So he decided, why don't I go on my computer and then create something so that we'll know each individual's name, and then there will be a shared drive. Anybody can put in their name and then their whole number. Now it's Facebook. Do you see Mark's pictures on Facebook? Nope. He's created a platform that you are sharing your pictures, and he's same as Google, same as Amazon. That's what they do. So think about something that will change our world. Because if you come to this world and say nothing and do nothing, you will leave this world be nothing. Would you rather have it that way than doing something that the world will remember you as a legacy? So think about something that you can do. What are you passionate about? What is it that your friends come to you to ask advice from you for? You can make a living out of it. I remember I had lived in Ohio for some time. I had taught a student, and this is funny, but it's not funny. And this student, I had gone to a mall. I used to have restaurants, 2 restaurants at the mall. One in Columbus, one in Cincinnati, and I did Caribbean food and all that. So there was somebody coming to the mall, and everybody was kind of, oh, there she is. That's kind of a popular person. What you guys call celebrities here. And sometimes I shake my head when I see celebrities in Ghana and other, Nigeria and other places. These are not celebrities. They are just popular people. A single mother who is raising 3 kids is more of a celebrity to me than somebody who shows nude pictures and insult others. And do you know that when you keep sharing their videos, they have employed you because YouTube is paying them? So the more you share, they have employed you to work for them, and they make the money. They cash in on you. Why don't you create your own? Because there's a lady I know, Tina. She had a podcast called Tea for Tina. Every morning she speaks for 5 minutes. And she's cashing in $4,000 every month from YouTube. Tea for Tina podcast. 5 minutes every morning she talks with her tea. Think about something that you can do, something that you do well, that you can do to make money for yourself instead of always making money for other people. And being on your phone and talking for about 2-3 hours, the gospel of gossip, gossiping about other people. Well, I have news for you. The new golden rule is mind your damn business. What did I say? The new golden rule is what? Mind your damn business. Somebody's life is not your life. And I don't know whether I should tell you this. We all came to this world with a chat. We are all here for our soul to learn for ourselves and for God. Everybody's life follows different trajectory. So when somebody dresses, you don't have means to dress like that person. Don't try to be like that person. There are never 2 stars that look the same. So if you want to mimic somebody's star or be like somebody, you will never be like that person. Be your own. You are so unique and special. Don't try to be like somebody else. Is that cool? All right. Now let's move on. How to let your life speak and listen to the voice within you. So there's a poem from William Stratford. He says, ask me. Sometime when the river is cold and icy, ask me. Ask me of the mistakes I've made. Ask me whether what I have done is my life. Some individuals have come my way to help or to hurt. Ask me what difference their strongest love or hate has made. I will listen to what you say. You and I can turn and look at the silent river and wait. We know the current is there, hidden. And there are comings and goings from miles away that hold the stillness exactly before us. What the river says, that I will say. What you have done, is it how you want your life to be? Are there moments when it is clear, if you have eyes to see, that the life you are living is not the same as the life that wants to live in you? What is the life hidden, like the river beneath the eyes of you? In the spirit of the poet, do you wonder what you are meant to do and who you are meant to be? Let's pause here for a minute and think about that. Is there any mistakes that you have made that is turning you from becoming who you wanted to be? Are there people who have come into your life to love you and you have paid them back with hurts? Or let's flip the coin. People you have hurt who really showed you love. Have you listened to the voice within you before? The voice within that tells you that you are going on the wrong way. Sometimes people will not even say it, but you can feel it. Do you feel it? So let's go to this. And here I need your participation. We're going to do this. Anybody sitting close to you, we're going to discuss that. Whether you agree or disagree, why or why not. And Palmer said that before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. And then, so the first 3 seats up to the guy in white, you'll be discussing that with your partners for the first one. And then from that lady, yes, you, the lady sitting behind the guy in the white, from your group to the end, you'll be discussing the second one. Before you tell your life what truths and values you have decided to live up to, let your life tell you what hurts you embody, what values you represent. So these are 2 quotes. Discuss the way you understand, and then we'll share insight from your discussion. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 seats, you discuss the first one, and then the remaining seats, you discuss the second one. We have 3 minutes to do that. Let's start. All right. Get ready to bring your discussion to a close, and I will need some volunteers to share insight from your discussion. So by the count of 5, let's bring our discussion to a close because we're working with time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Relationship is all about expectations. If you don't meet the expectation of the other person, you lose that relationship. Just like the stock market, it's all about expectations. The prices goes up and down. Business is exactly like relationships. All right. For me, I make learning simple. Because that's how I was mentored. It shouldn't be difficult. It should be fun, enjoy it, and you learn in that process. Learning should not be about definitions and formulas, and there's no learning there. It's about creation. Learning is not for consumption of information. It's to use that information to create something. So if you're learning and you are not creating something out of the learning, and then you are chewing and pouring, then it's a problem. This morning I was discussing something with Professor Fred, the president, and he was saying that, well, the past 67 years of Ghana's independence, our education wasn't bad. We needed employees because the expatriates were leaving. And our education system was churning out, a lot of employees. Now we have overproduced employees and we need employers, entrepreneurs, which is partly true. Because when you talk about chewing and pouring, some of the best lawyers are those who can chew and pour. Because it's a very authoritative, language. Law is an authoritative language. It's what the law says. You quote it exactly verbatim as it is. So if you chew it well and pour it well, maybe here. But you can't do that in Europe or America when you memorize the same thing. So I've written over 7 leadership books. And that the way I've defined it, and then you say that Enoch defined leadership this way. Have you done anything? I define leadership as your character in action. Anywhere you find yourself, your character makes you lead. And do you know that even when there are 2 people in a relationship, one is a leader, and it takes only one follower to make a leader? So leadership is the most simplest thing you can see as I teach leadership. Even in the animal world, there are leaders. The wise elephant, the dancing bee. So when bees are making the honey, the one that can dance very well is their leader. Everywhere there are leaders. Even trees, there are leaders. There are giant trees that when you are cutting trees, they speak with their roots to the other trees that are being cut. Recently, there was a research in England about mushrooms that talk to each other. So when people say some people are book, it's just the theory. Without theory, you can never have practice. 2 things you can do in academia. You can let the theory inform the practice, what we call the grounded theories, or you can let the practice inform the theory. So we found out, I think I told some of my classes, that 65% of male men, when they use the washroom and there's nobody there, they don't wash their hands. Study has found that. So what do? You educate people about that. That even when nobody is watching you, you need to wash your hands. When you go to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, everybody who is taking a connect flight, people will be running. Sometimes you hear that your flight is, and you have to run like, Usain Bolt, else you miss your flight. And they realized that people were peeing on the floor. So, because they were in a hurry. So they did something like a golf course, and you see that the hole is in the sink, and they have some butterflies also. It's not red butterfly, but they drew them in the sink. So people gauged it and then pee correctly, and it reduced those who were peeing on the floor by 85% to 40%. So we can look at daily practices and make theories and educate people, and then fix the problem too. Now let's go to sharing it. What was the inside of the 2 thoughts, quotes? How do you understand it based on the discussion? And how do you interpret it? Whether you agree or not, why or why not? I need about 5 volunteers. Who goes first? Show your leadership. In the advanced world, as soon as you ask question, you see students, raising up your hand. They go with the weight. If you want to travel abroad, be quick with your weight. Because the white person don't have time to wait for you to say, no. You go to Congress in America, you have only 2 minutes as a congressman to speak. If you stand up, you have 2 minutes. They don't waste time. If your bus comes at 10 a.m., then the bus driver sees you coming 10:01. They see you coming, but they will never stop. You cannot waste anybody's time. So when we ask questions and you want to be leader, be on your weight. As soon as we ask questions, raise up your hand, because you have thought about something already. And always your first instinct is right. That's the reason why women instinct work so much. If they suspect you that you are cheating, about 85% of the time you are. Yeah, women instinct works so like magic. Because instinct, according to research, is based on your experience and knowledge on the issue. All right, so insight. Yes. You need this? That's one there.
Please, good afternoon. I'm Usman. Okay, what Palmer said, before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. Okay, basically what we agree with in my group is that before you plan to do something, analyze it, study it, ask questions, do research before you enter. Let's say that I'm going to Medina. I can't just get up and start going. I have to know how much is a lorry fare, where I'm going, how far is Medina. I can't just get up and start going to Medina with maybe 2 cedis. At the end, the car will tell me it is 7 cedis or 10 cedis. So that's what Palmer want to tell us. If I want to be an engineer or a politician, I have to know, I have to analyze and learn more about politics. I can't just start going to politics because I have money and start going to politics. Thank you very much.
Let's clap for him. Yes, who goes next? Those in the other rooms, I know you are watching. I've taught in many places where I had about 10 different campuses listening to me at the same time. So I know. Those in the other rooms, somebody can raise up your hand there, and then we will let you also speak, because you are part of this class, just that we all could not fit into this room.
Hello. Okay, my name is David. I think what we discussed is quite different from what he said. If you tell your life what you intend to do, you're more likely to be telling your life things that you have been influenced from outside to say. But if you actually become silent and then you allow your life to tell you what it intends to do with you, it's more like reflecting with yourself, searching deep within, and then finding out why you are here. Why are you here? Like, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
Great. Let's clap for him too. Yes, I need 3 more. We have one here.
Okay, so from what I discussed with the people sitting next to me, all we got was that we gave an example. So there are some people who they sit and they say, I want to do this with my life, or I want to do that with their life. And it might come from interests that you picked up from the world around you. But despite that, you should take a look at your strengths, your weaknesses, and your experiences, because those are the sort of things that will tell you the things that you are good at, and probably is the things that you are good at that you are intended to do. So if somebody is really good at public speaking, and they know that because when they stand in front of a crowd, they're able to speak very easily, they may want to go into painting, and that's not to say you can't go ahead and do it, but because of how your experiences have shaped that ability of yours to speak publicly, that's probably what life intends for you to be doing. Yeah.
That's an A. Clap for her. Yes. Who has the microphone? Who has the speaker? Please give it to the guy in the black, and then you will finish up. Yeah. But you are pointing at somebody. Meanwhile, you could have said something. Yes. All right.
Okay, so what I noticed about the second one was that before you tell your life what truths and values you have decided to live up to, let your life tell you what truths you embody. So his example was that for men, 60% of men, when there's no one in the washroom, they don't wash their hands. You can call yourself a clean person, but If you're in the washroom and there's no one there and you don't wash your hand, you are not a clean person. You've told your life that you're a clean person, but you don't act on what you've told yourself.
Great. Let's clap for him. And that is why most scholars define culture as what you do when nobody is watching. That is the true you, when nobody is watching. So some people are charade. They have a mask. And that is why when I teach leadership, there's a clear difference between the formal side of a leader and then the informal side. There are some people, when you see them at work, they are so nice, they work well, but go to their homes and ask of their kids and their family, they will tell you a different person that they see. Because their informal side is different from their formal side. Which is one of the things I've written about. One of my books, Leadership is Concept Heavy. Yes?
So what I understood from this is, before you want to be something in the future, you need to know the values that that thing has and check whether you have it as a person. So for example, you want to be a politician. So what a politician should have is, a politician should care about people, a politician should be a patriot. Now, you have people who are politicians, but then their values, they don't care about Ghana. Their kids are not even in Ghana. They don't want anything to do with Ghana. So you have people being in the wrong positions, causing more harm than good. So I feel like you should know your values and then plan for what you want to be, so that your values can correspond to the position that value also needs.
Great.
Yes,
let's clap for him. I have a question. Don't you think that African politicians are overglorified? You don't think they are overrated? They are. For what they have not done for Africa, I don't think we should glorify them like that. I've said in many platforms that America have got 65% of the citizens who don't know the name of the vice president. They don't care. Because the government doesn't give you a job. Whether one government will leave, another will come, it doesn't change anything in the system. You have your own jobs. Even the federal government is different from the state government. So you don't see the federal government president that they are debating. They have less impact at the state level. But here it's like everybody depends on politicians because they drive everything. And they are over-glorified. They come to the church places, the workplaces, and we give them that kind of high profile, introduce them, and all kind of things. A leader is just a servant. You are nobody. Leaders, we are just servants. And I've never seen anybody who goes for a house help or a maid servant, and the maid servant would rather pay you money. Please, I want to come and serve you, so I'm paying you this money. But here you see politicians paying money, even though they claim they are coming to serve you. In the advance world, nobody pays you money. No politician will give you even 1 cedi, or 1 naira, or 1 kobo. You rather give them 2 cedis, 1 cedi, 5 cedi. Go and represent us because we know you are wise. We know you have values. We know you have intelligence. And then you go. Once you win, you report to them and do exactly what they ask you to do. That's what leadership is about. You are there to champion the cause of the group, not by yourself. If you don't go by what the group wants, they kick you out. Here we are even afraid of our leaders. We can't even say anything. And I think that must change. Anyway, let's go back to our work. Don't try to be like someone else. And then the word vocation, from the Greek word, it means the voice that you hear. So what voice do you hear that you want to be? And I've always asked my students and people that I do consulting with, that the next 5, 10 years, where do you want to see yourself? I began by telling you going to the German embassy for an interview. And I remember the consultant leader at that time, Dr. Fink, asked me, Enoch, where do you want to see yourself the next 5 years? And I said, at exactly your seat. I'll be taking your position. She said, yes, I like you already. And that's why I was hired. See, in the advanced world, we always hire people who are smarter than us because they make us look better. Here, that's not the case. They will never hire somebody who is smarter than them because they feel threatened by their position. If you are good, don't be afraid of anybody. Don't have to be afraid of anybody. So the voice that you hear is your calling. And it is difficult to hear that voice unless you become silent within. This is very important to me. If you don't hear anything today, there's a voice, which is your vocation. And vocation is not job. Job is just overbroke. That somebody pays you every month. You can never be rich by working for somebody. You need to have your own job, and others will be working for you while you play golf. You need to have that kind of leverage, other people working for you. It is true that Bill Gates never finished university. We all know he dropped out of college. But his company, and we all know his company, right? What is his company? Microsoft will never hire somebody who has not finished university. Why is he not hiring people who drop out like himself? And he's the only person in the world who reads 50 books a year, almost one book every week. Self-taught. So there are some people who did not finish school, university like you, but they read a lot. And they teach themselves along the way. Any book, anything that will help their business, they buy books and read. They are also learning like you are sitting here and learning. And before you know, they're doing well in the world of business. So read. Those of you who don't like reading, as soon as you pick a book, then you want to sleep. Read. Research has shown that those who have Alzheimer and, Parkinson's disease, they would have to, so those are the homes, elderly homes abroad, they force them to read at least 15 minutes, every 15 minutes before you sleep. And it's helping their brain to pick up, being active. So learn to read. It will help you a lot. When you cannot sleep, pick a book and read it. But the idea here is that when you violate your truth, it will come at a great cost to you. That is why some people find themselves in different professions that they don't like, because their parents push them to be there and they struggle. There was a guy, I don't know if you've heard about it, he wanted to be a mechanic and the parents sent him to be a dentist. And he said that when he's holding your teeth, he holds this like he's a mechanic. So people would not go to his dentist shop because the way he was handling their teeth, they didn't like it. That wasn't his profession. He's being frustrated by even the job that he's doing. And Stover says that he who loves his job never labors. If you love what you're doing, you do it with ease. It comes naturally. If you don't love what you're doing, it becomes a labor, hard work for you. Anytime you're going to work, say, oh, not again. You hate your work. You hate everybody at the workplace. In America, 60% hate their boss, according to a new research. And they don't enjoy what they are doing. I help some students out in an entrepreneurship, and then they form a company called JYMF, JYMF. And JYMF, I did what I call the $1 Million Cup. And the $1 Million Cup was universities in the city. They will all meet once every Wednesday morning. We made cups, $1 Million Cups, $1 Million Cups. And students will come and pitch ideas. So some software, some music, some anything that students want to chip ideas. And that was one of those that my son had what he called the LB Beat. So he has been in Ghana only once, in 2017. And he learned about Shatawale and Beam Nation and all those people, the way Ghanaian beats are. We went to London, he picked some of the beats there, we went to Asia, and then he combined African beats, the genre, with that of Europe and that of Asia and made it LB Beat. And he's selling it to rappers in America and making money. He's got about 5,000 of it on his laptop. So when he's free, he goes and works on his beat. I thought people sell tomatoes and onions but he sells beats to rappers, and he's making money. He bought his first car when he was 16. So what is the voice that you hear? I did not finish, and nobody prompted me. On the story at the mall that I saw somebody coming. You remember? Nobody asked me. I did that on purpose to see whether somebody would prompt me. And that lady who was coming, everybody was trying to look at her at the mall. Do you know what she was doing? That people knew her. I asked that, what does she do that people are looking at? Because she was my student. And they told me that, oh, Prof, you don't know her? I said, no, I've never seen. The only thing I know about her is that she's in my class. And they said, oh, she's a porn star. And I said, what? That's what she does? So she came to my class, and I said, we need to talk. She said, oh, Prof, I know what you want to talk about. And I said, well, you don't know what I want to talk about. So she came and asked her, and said, well, and that was the first time that I realized it's about 40 billion industry. So, wow. How did you get yourself there? And she told me her life story, you know. And I have learned by my travels and listening to people, never judge anybody. You know, empathy is a word that I like. And I like the German meaning of empathy. Walk into the life of somebody. If you walk into the life of somebody and see what they've gone through, you will understand what empathy is. So a friend of mine who recently came on a visit, when I was in Ohio, he was in Canada. He had found a job in US. He was coming there. He didn't know anybody. So he Googled the Ghanaian community in that city, and my name popped up because I was the Ghana Association president for almost 8 years there. And anywhere that I've been a leader. But like I said, you always see me if I have to talk. After that, you never see me again. I know how to show and how to hide. And that is one of the key things about the eagle. You know, there's a bald eagle. And that bald eagle is always only found in America. That is why it's a symbol for that country. When eagles find out that they are old and they can't fly and they can't do anything, they know how to hide. They go hide themselves in the cave, make sure that they hit all their wings on the rock. It's a very painful exercise. It takes about 3 months. And that blood will be coming from all their bodies because they'll be hitting all their bodies on the rock until all the feathers comes out. Because it's old, they can't fly. And after a while, about 6-9 months, when they gain a new feather, they can fly from London to Accra 7 hours non-stop. Because now they have a new wing. So if you want to be somebody who is great and important, learn when to hide and when to show. Don't show your face all the time. All right, I'll move on. So this friend of mine who came to visit me, his father had died about 2 months ago. He's a Muslim, so he came to bury the father. And his mother lives in Kumasi. So tomorrow I'll be going to Kumasi for a funeral. That same guy's mother. I asked him to go see his mother, and he said that he's too busy. I convinced him. He went with the VIP bus to Kumasi, returned the same day. When he returned back to US, the following week, the mother died. So he was fortunate to have gone to see the mother. But that is not my story. Tomorrow is his mother's funeral, and he's not here. Do you know what happened to him? He just came out of jail. So when I ask you, do you like who you are becoming? I can tell you plethora of stories to ask you. And always ask yourself, like who I'm becoming. Why are people getting an A and I'm getting a C in a class? Meanwhile, the same lecturer teaching us. What can I do to better myself? Always ask yourself, do I like who I'm becoming? So this friend of mine went back. He was married to an African-American woman. And then they divorced. Then he came to Ghana, married a Ghanaian woman, had twins with the woman and took the woman out there. For some bizarre reasons, after he divorced the African American woman, now they came to love themselves better than even when they were married. So there's a Ghanaian woman there in town, and anytime he gets a chance over the weekend, he goes sees the ex-wife. So his kids, 4 kids that he had with the ex-wife, are in the same house with him. And then the new Ghanaian woman has got twins, 2 with him. And children, these 2 kids were fighting. And then he said that your kids are wrong, and most women don't like that. I'm here with you. My child is fighting with your child from another woman, and then you are saying that my kids are wrong. Cut long story short, he picked his key. The guy picked his car key that he wants a day out. And the woman said, no, I'm not allowing you out because you go to your ex. And became kind of a scuffle. He pushed the woman, and the woman called the cops. She called the police. And in advance war, when the woman called the police, the only thing the police need is a probable cause. Is it possible you could have done it? His bail was $10,000. They seized his passport, so he cannot come to his mother's funeral. And when he called me crying from the police cells, I asked him, do you like who you are becoming? And I have news for you. The Greek word for passion is suffering. So whatever you are passionate about, you suffer for it. If you like women, it will kill you. Somebody said amen. Oh, really? Okay. If you like gossip, it will kill you, right? If you like alcohol, those who like to booze, it will kill you. If you like to smoke, of course, I've heard that a couple of students here have started smoking. Well, just read it. America has passed a law that every cigarette that you buy, even cigarette, not marijuana and all those opiums, there should be an inscription that says that you can have cancer. So if you choose to smoke, that's your choice. And there's one thing that I like about God, the Creator. He does not interfere in our choices. Why? Because if God interferes in our choices, he cannot judge you. He leaves you to make your own choices. And in the end, you account for it. So every choice that you make, economists will say there's an opportunity cost, right? The alternative for God. So if 2 guys came to you, proposing to you, and one said that, I don't have money, my parents don't have money, but I'm a hardworking guy, I know one day I will make it. But another guy comes with a car and says, oh, my parents have money, I have made it. And you choose to go with a guy who has a car, but the parents bought it for him. He didn't buy it himself. Even the fuel, the parents buy it for him. In the end, you've made a choice. But remember, the guy you forgone is the alternative cost. Alternative forgone. And there's a price that you will pay. So one day when that guy becomes somebody, and you go to say, oh, I didn't know that you become somebody like this. Now you also make a decision whether to consider you or not, right? Because when you were struggling, you did not see his future. So choices are always ours. So the insight here is all hidden in the word vocation. So vocation is not a means or a purpose. It means a calling that you hear. A calling that you hear. That is why some people have excelled in many businesses, because they feel this is what I have passion for and this is what I want to do. And at this age, I want you to begin to think about your vocation, what you want to do. Because when you do it well and you start early from university at this time, whether it's a business idea, whether it's a thought, whatever you want to do, you just need 3% of the idea. you have other people coming to help you with those ideas. So any big business you've seen is coming from 2 people. Johnson & Johnson, 2 people. Ernst & Young, 2 people. Procter & Gamble, 2 people. If you're an IT person, get somebody with a marketing background, join together. And if you want to start a business, don't start with a family member. They are kind of cantankerous, right? Sometimes you can't fire them. Don't also start with somebody you have a relationship with. Because the relationship doesn't go well, then there will be a problem. So make sure you get a business partner, and then strictly you go by the rules. Somebody that I mentored came to me recently. He wants to places, and I'm helping him to build it up at Botsiano. So we're working to hire some nephrologists and then bring the machines, and then we'll have free dialysis for people because we think they need help. Then he said that, Prof, I think we need to get a lawyer to sell shares because this is an NGO, so people will donate. And when people donate to your NGO, they have to use your tax ID to file for their taxes because it's not free money. Even musicians do that. Getting to Christmas, they will do shows, free shows. But the free shows, they use it to report to Ghana Revenue Authority that this show would have cost, let's say, 10 million, and we did it free. And they deducted from their taxes. Jay-Z and the Beyonce said that's what they do. Any free show that you see, they are using that because they have to pay taxes at the end of the year. And then they will inflate the numbers that we could have earned this amount from this free show, and then they deduct it from their taxes. So, what do you hear that your voice speaks to you? Listen to what your life is telling you. Else, you'll be miserable in life. I can tell you. Some people are miserable. I am telling you that I know of friends. They were in SRC. I had SRC president and the vice president who sold, University of Cape Coast here. They sold the school van and used the money to travel to US. Yes. I met them. One is in Chicago, one is in Virginia. They sold the school van and traveled over. So I was the only executive of the SRC left at the school before we graduated. When they went abroad, they stayed in Chicago. One married, the other one wanted to go to school. One found the other one sleeping with his wife. They broke away. You see, that is how evil is. It can locate you everywhere. So when I tell you that, do you like who you are becoming, always ask yourself that question. Some people like shortcut. Shortcut. Blame WAEC for what is happening. I was a manager with Pearson in charge of 230 different state board testing. Do you know that in America, even before you become a barber, you need certificate from the state? Because the way you cut white people's hair is different from the way black hair is cut. You need a certificate from the state. Then you need virtues. The whole world is about values. So what values do you have? If your values is timeliness, keep it. It's honesty, telling the truth. Get some values for yourself. Let people know you for who or what you stand for. One of my mentors in leadership is Abraham Lincoln. Do you know that Abraham Lincoln was the unluckiest leader the world has ever produced? But he's somehow the best leader America have seen. Even when he became a president, everything the man tried, he failed. Everything. If you want somebody who has a resilient spirit, never giving up, that is him. He started business with a friend, he failed. He contested for many positions, never won. Everything he failed. Even his best friend took his girlfriend away from him. His child died at the White House. Failure was following him everywhere until he became the president. And you know he did not even finish his term. He was assassinated. But 2 things that the world remembers Abraham Lincoln for. First, he preserved the Union. When many states wanted to break away from America, he said, no, we are preserving the Union. And one of his generals went and told him that, I heard one of your other generals saying that you're stupid. You know what he told him? He said, that general is a very smart guy. So if he's saying I'm stupid, then I might have done something stupid. A president. And then they said that he keeps changing his faces. Famous thing if you've heard, that he has double face. Today he says it, the next day he says this. And he said that if I have two faces, I would never have worn this ugly face that I have. He laughed at himself. And that made him a good leader. So he preserved the union and then he freed the slaves. So if slaves are free today, it's coming from Abraham Lincoln. And there's a secret most people in the world don't know. If you go to America, money, which is the nickel, the yellow one, is the one they put Abraham Lincoln's picture on it as a punishment. Because some people lived using slaves. And he abolished it. That was his punishment. But today, the world always remembers Abraham Lincoln because he knew his values, that it is not appropriate for fellow human beings to be used as slaves. You remember the dream of Martin Luther King Jr., that he had a dream that one day blacks and whites would sit together and eat and talk. Today it has come true, right? That was somebody's dream. He was killed for that. But today we have that happening. So what is your dream? I don't want my students to come to school, just wake up every morning, dress up, go to class, finish, go work for somebody, stay there quietly and die and leave this world. What I want you to do? Of course, we all go home. But you have to leave something on this earth before you go home. Are you leaving? I'm going to end soon, so that if you have any question. One thing that I want is that your soul will always speak the truth to you. Listen to your soul. You need to be silent before you can hear. And one day, God is not going to ask you, why were you not Enoch? He will ask you, why were you not you? There's nobody on this planet like you. I'm going to end with this story that I've told some classes. I have psychology background for my first degree. And, you know, psychology is about the scientific behavior of the brain. According to psychology, when there is a man, a male or a female intercourse, and there is what is called ejaculation, what comes is what we call the chromosomes. And chromosomes from a simple ejaculation is 500 million, which is 500 million. Now, if you don't have up to 30,000, some is even 15,000, then they say you have low sperm count. But 500 million from a simple ejaculation chromosomes, which is 500 million. Now, out of 500 million, when you have an affair with a woman, there is what this chromosome have to do to swim through the fallopian tube so that a baby is formed. Now, out of the 500 million, 500 million, you were the only one that was able to swim through the fallopian tube to become a baby and be born. So you are a champion at birth. You are a champion at birth. If you don't value yourself, then you don't know who you are. So if you don't believe in yourself, do you expect me to believe in you? Do you? I want you to build that confidence in you. There is nothing that you cannot do. And Bill Gates have stated that in his book, that he was in 3rd grade, class 3. And class 3 here means you are about 9 years, right? Somebody came to the class, just like I'm standing here. And then he was talking about, you can be whoever you want to be, even if you want to be the richest person in the world. The person just tapped his shoulders, just as a demonstration. And Bill Gates said that day, at 9 years, he decided that because this man has touched me, and use me as an example that I can be the richest man in the world. He was. Until now, Jeff Bezos from Amazon and then Elon Musk have taken over from him. But he's still there. Top 5 richest people in the world. He's still there. And meeting these people, I can tell you, the truly richest people in the world are so humble. They are so humble and down to earth. But their life doesn't matter. It is your life that matters to me today. I want to see the Bill Gates, the Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerbergs, and all those people, real estate moguls, coming from this school. Because I believe in your capabilities. Thank you.
The question I just have is that why is that the leaders or politicians in Ghana, they don't take responsibilities on their own?
This is a good question. I have one of my books explaining this. Anytime you give somebody authority, responsibility is given to them. And when people have higher responsibilities, accountability becomes a problem. That is why the people will have to hold them accountable. So leadership is too important to be left with leaders alone. And 80% of leadership is followership. So why are we leaving just the 20% to control the 80%? So anywhere you see that leaders are not accountable, it means that the citizens have not held them accountable. Because if you go to any advanced country, do you know that the Dutch, Amsterdam, they are living about 15 feet below sea level? So it's all water, and they have boats and everything. Anytime it rains, it's all floody. Because they are living 15 feet below the sea level. So the sea can cover them. But see how their leaders are very responsible. And they give us loan every day. If you go to London, who want to stay in London? They only plant wheat and sweet potatoes. But we go to them for loan. Recently, I have some white friends who work with the World Bank. And we met, not in Ghana. And they asked me some question that, these your people coming for loans and loans. Now we have over 700 billion loans. See this loan, Ghana. Do they know that the gold and the diamond coming, from the country, people in that country can come together. Even our Ghana Stock Exchange, do you know that only 5 companies are listed? When Jamaica have 34 countries listed. But can Ghanaian companies form kind of conglomerate, then come and loan the government money and then get interest from that? Because people have money that can borrow the government money. So why are you going to the World Bank and the IMF and borrow money and they give you conditionalities? Recently, we were supposed to, I don't know if it's going live, because some things I can't say them. The way I am, I have to say things as it is. But they will call me behind and say, Prof, here we don't say things like that. You don't mention anybody's name. So sometimes I don't even know what to say. Before people get employed now, we have to get the go-ahead, what they call the cheat, from the World Bank and the IMF that you can hire, let's say, 2,000 people in this area, in health, in education. For heaven's sake, you live in your country. And somebody even gives you loan and tell you what to do with it. Do you know that the oil that they are drilling in this country, do you know the percentage that we are getting? 13.75%. Go to America and tell them that you've seen gold or diamond or oil and you want to drill. They will not even allow you, a foreigner, to touch it. Because 3 things you cannot touch in any advanced world. The water body, you can't touch any water. Every water is sea blue. You can't touch it. You can also not touch any tree. Then you cannot touch any animal. If I see a deer here this afternoon coming to this school, of course, you guys will chase the deer, right? Kill it, and then there will be light soup. But in my house there, I see deer coming and walking majestically, and you have to stop for them all to cross the road. You can't touch any tree, and you cannot touch any water body. It's a no-no. The only way they allow it is in October, where they have the hunting season, only 1 month, that everybody can go to the farm. Even that you are allowed to kill only 1 deer, because there are so many that they want to eliminate some of them. And they are causing road accidents. Apart from that, you can't touch anything. But here, look at Galamsey, right? And the coalition against Galamsey went to the president yesterday, and the president said, I will see what I can do. Give me time. After almost 8 years, you still need time? When people were dying, now all the animals that drink the water we give them, they are all getting that, children are being born, deformed, some with no eyes, some have kidney issues, some only one leg, because of chemicals for Galamsey. And you forget that when it rains, all those poisoned rivers are moving to other rivers. I have a filter on my poly tank, and every week that I go home and I go to my house and I open it, you see the dirt. I have to change it every week. The dirt that is coming through the poly tank that we use to shower. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? That's not what leadership is meant to be. Leadership is about solving problems. It's not about creating problems and throw your hands in the air thinking that you can't do anything. But let me advise the youth, Osman, every election in Africa is not worth a single drop of blood. Don't kill yourself for this. Go quietly, vote, and go to your home. Is that clear? Go vote quietly, because you don't know what God wants to use you for in the future. So let's hold our leaders accountable. And I expect you all to speak when you see any wrong in society. Yes, the next question.
Okay, so my question is, how would you know whether you've lived your life to the fullest? What's the measure for it? Is it the dreams that you have? And if you have no dreams, that means you shouldn't do anything. Or is the expectations that people have for you?
That's a good question. You don't have to live by other people's expectations. You need to have your own expectations. Have you noticed that people always have plans for the rich and the popular, that if I were him or her, this is how I would have done things? Then do it for yourself. So don't live by other people's expectations. That is why I said that in the end, God will ask you why you were not you, but you try to be somebody else. So be you. Don't live by anybody's expectations. Have the expectations for yourself. What is your expectations? But I'm saying that have a curious brain, because a curious brain is beautiful. And always aim high. Don't settle for less. I began by saying that there are 5 fingers. They are all not equal. But refuse to be the shortest. Always strive to be the longest. Or at any place. And the more you take responsibilities at any workplace, the more you become indispensable. They will always need you. If you go to work and do just the minimum, go at 9, leave at 5 all the time, when there's time for promotion, nobody will remember you. Those who come early, take other responsibilities, leave late, those people get promotions because people are watching. Unfortunately, in Africa, it's also not that way. Sometimes those who work hard are poor. And those who cut corners and gossip about others are getting promotion and going up. That's not how it's supposed to be. Because hard work is supposed to pay. So go by your own expectations, but set high standards for yourself.
Okay, so what if you don't want to, let's say you are comfortable with the 9 to 5 that you work. You're comfortable with the 9 to 5 that you do, going to work, coming back. Let's say you're comfortable with the 9 to 5 that you work, going to work, coming back, binging some shows, going to sleep, repeating the whole cycle again. If you are comfortable with that for the rest of your life, does that define your life being lived to the fullest or something like that?
Okay. A new study from this magazine, Fortune magazine, have said that there's no growth in comfort zones. So anytime you are becoming comfortable, it means you are not growing. So if you are working and you are comfortable with your 9 to 5, it means you are not growing on the job. Any new person they will hire. So you see that most organizations are hiring people from outside, and there are people inside there. Because you come and do the minimum and leave. It will not take you anywhere. Don't think that because I'm comfortable here, even in relationships, if you become too comfortable, you lose your partner. Because there's no growth in comfort zones. You need to try new things, talk different way, make everything new to each other every day. That is why we say that the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. They are new every morning. New every morning. So don't be so comfortable in what you're doing because there's no growth in comfort zones. Take more responsibilities. Unravel the weathers. Make yourself uncomfortable sometimes. And in doing that, you are rewarded. Yes. You have a follow-up question?
Yeah. You said...
Can you stand?
You said you should be comfortable, but you also said that a man that loves his job does not labor. So... where is all this leading to?
You have to look at the difference between the two. First is your vocation. And I said that Stover said that he who loves his job never labors. Do you see the difference between the two? If you love your job, it comes naturally. So if painting is what you love doing, naturally you are painting and you enjoy it. If teaching, I was born to teach. The name Enoch means a dedicated teacher. You see? So Julius Caesar asked, what is in a name? Sometimes what's your name? Jabez, you remember? Sometimes some people are not doing well because of the name they have. We had a classmate called Abebrese. Yes. We had a classmate called Abebrese. Abebrese means suffering. Why were your parents naming you that? So that guy would try everything. It wasn't working. I told him, bro, you need to look at your name. You see? So yeah, if you enjoy your work or you have passion for something, it comes naturally, easy. But if you don't have passion for it, it becomes a labor. You're going to work, you don't like it because that workplace is like a toxic place for you. That's what I was talking about. But when you become comfortable, even in the same job that you love to do, try new things. If you are left-handed, I'm left-handed, my everything is left. My hand, my leg, I'm left-handed. So I can't do much with my right. I can't even use the right to hold a spoon to eat. But sometimes I try it, and it's a new experience. Even though I'm not comfortable, it's a new experience. And research has shown that if you try new things, you learn in a very diverse way. So try it and see. Yes. Thank you. Yes?
Okay, so the question I wanted to ask is, what advice would you give for someone who is uncertain or conflicted about their vocation?
Well, uncertainty is part of life. The same way as forgetfulness is part of life. Sometimes you cannot see the end from the beginning. But my advice to you is that the feet of faith is wet. The feet of faith is wet. You need to have faith in yourself. The reason why I gave you this quote is that when they were crossing Jordan and the high priest were in front of them, Jordan was full. And the order was that cross it. And you know what happened? As soon as their feet, the first feet hit the Jordan River, it broke into two. You have to wet your feet first before the Jordan can open for you. So even if you are uncertain, start with something. Do you understand me? Let's bring it to relationship. The guy who saw you and proposed to you, do you know him? Maybe you've just met him here. But you look at the way he carries himself, the way he's serious with his education and a lot of things. Say, well, maybe let me give him a chance so that he can get close to me, right? That's a choice. And then through that uncertainty, that closeness will give you the opportunity to know that person time by time. And before you know, the wedding rings. The bells are ringing. So uncertainty is something that is part of life. But know how to start something even if you are uncertain. And then you study along the way. You realize that you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And always ask yourself, do I like who I am becoming? If the uncertainty is telling you and then your guts are telling you that maybe I made a mistake, then think about it again and make another decision. Because anything you do or you learn, you can also unlearn. Right? Yes, anything you learn, you can also unlearn. So if you learn how to drink or learn how to smoke, you can also unlearn how to do it and stop. Yesterday, I went to the barbering shop. See, when I was standing here, I was thinking, I said, oh, Prof, you have a new haircut. Nobody said it, but that's okay. I was trying to use my hand to do this so that you see I have a new haircut and nobody said it. But something that struck me, there, reminds me of a friend who was a professor in marketing in the US and what he did. But I don't think I have time to tell you that. This boy has been taking the barber. I have 5 barbers there at the barbering shop. And barbering shops are the place that they tell a lot of stories. And the hair salons. So this guy, anytime I go there, all of them want to come and shave me because I tip them. They charge 30 Ghana cedis and I give them 50. So everybody want to do that. So as soon as I park, oh, my friend is here. And you see 2, 3 of them trying to come in because at least there will be a tip. But the guy who got me yesterday told me something. He said, boss, I want to do something in front of you. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, I'm going to call my wife and tell her that I have stopped taking my bet. And I said, but what has that got to do with me? And he said, see, I took 500 Ghana cedi loan from my wife. And the 500 Ghana cedis is my monthly pay for being a barber here. And I use the money for my bet. Then, when the game was going, they said that I will win 3,000 Ghana cedis. So I had plans. And I see that some people are laughing. Studies have shown that if there is a joke and you are not smiling, it means you cannot relate to it. That is why, yes, anytime you can relate to a joke, you will smile. You will laugh. If you cannot relate to it, you can't because it's not funny to you. That is why all the stand-up comedians you see in America speak fast. So everything you see people doing is coming from research. Anyway, so he called the wife and said, sweetheart, I want to tell you today with my boss here that I have stopped taking my bet. And she said, why? He said, let me tell you the truth. Yesterday, I used the money that you gave me, and I was hoping to get 3,000 Ghana cedis. Then getting to the end of the game, I realized that I was losing all the money. So I tried to withdraw. They blocked it. I could not withdraw, and I had only 50 Ghana cedis back. He said, oh, I had it lined up 14 different games. And me, I've never done it before, so I was listening to him. And the wife said that, make sure you don't come home. So the guy said, that's why I'm telling you this in front of my boss. I like him a lot. Today, I have stopped taking my bet. So if you hear that I've, taken that again, please divorce me. The wife said, okay, you are forgiven, but go and sin no more. So that is how it works. Sometimes you have to go through the pain and learn from it. Any other question before we say kumbaya? Yes.
So someone recommended a book to me, The 48 Laws of Power, and then I read it, and then when I was reading it, I was a little bit confused because some of the stuff mentioned in there is something that people do instinctively often. Most people do it.
Robert Greene book, 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I wanted to ask your opinion on it and how it ties into leadership.
Okay. So 16th century, there was a guy called Niccolo Machiavelli. You've heard about Machiavelli? Yeah. Machiavelli was a manipulator. So he wrote a book called The Prince. And most African leaders are using his book style. So he taught the prince how to dress well, how to look good outside, but inside, you really don't do well because you are not a good leader, but you are pretending to be. And Machiavelli said something that Pope Vincent VIII spoke against. He said that you cannot be loved and feared at the same time. So if you are a leader and you have to make a choice, let your people fear you instead of loving you. That is very manipulative, and that is coming from Machiavelli. So you can see that the book you read from Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, the first law is never outshine the master. And that is very practical in Africa. If your boss sees that you are smarter than them, they'll find a way to kick you out because they feel threatened. And in that case, the advice that I give to my students, because most of you are very good in IT, and most of your bosses that you will find in future don't know anything about IT. And anytime you try to bring ideas, they will tell you, oh, no, we've been doing this for the past 30 years. You were not even born. So, But the old right has now become the new wrong, right? And they don't understand. So try to make silly mistakes. You go to the boss, oh, I made this mistake, boss, and say, oh, yeah. So they feel empowered, and they will tell you, oh, I'll do it this way, do it that way. Thank you, sir. In that way, they don't feel threatened, but you know what you're doing. So sometimes you have to pretend to be naive, but you are not. And most women in relationships are good at that. They see wrongs that their husbands are going through, and sometimes they tell them things they know is a lie. But they say, oh, okay, because they don't want to prolong it, or anyway, you would think, that they are naive. They are not. They know what you're doing. And one day, when they begin to talk about that, because when a woman is leaving, it's not what you did today that she's talking about many years ago. They don't forget. They don't forget. So don't forget. But the laws are manipulative. It helps some leaders, especially African leaders. But in the advanced world, it doesn't happen like that, because there they know the expectations of their followers. And here we don't know our expectations. So the road is bad and we think that, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Because I can tell you, my own mom, when she visited me, somebody, a single individual in their farmhouse, the road is better than our main road from here to Kumasi. One person, their farm road is tied everything until you get your driveway. Because that guy will come to the mayor or the governor or the senator and they say that, dude, you said we should vote for you. We did. I wasted my time, left my farm, came be in the line and voted for you. Have you seen my road? And then he will just open, here, on his hips here, you see a nice shiny black thing. It's called a gun. So you see it, and I know how to shoot. Would you take it from the top or the down? And then he leaves quietly. The next day, the road will be fixed. Because don't come and waste anybody's time if you are not a leader. Don't come and campaign that I will do A, and then you come and you not do it, and then you come and you expect me to do what? Hail you? So the expectations of the people, and I said that every leader lead in anticipation to what the followers want. They know what their followers want, they do it for them. If they need trains, they need buses. We have a lot of homeless people. New York alone has got over 8,000 homeless people. But when it's so cold, 16 degrees, negative 16 degrees, negative 30 degrees, individuals are staying in the cold. So what do? They make a decision. Let's give them the buses. So they give them bus pass. They will all be in the buses. The bus will be moving because there is warmth in the bus. So the bus, the whole day, they have that kind of a bus pass for the whole day. And then the bus will be moving up and down. They will be sitting in it. And then they will be warm. They won't die. Leaders make decisions every day, but they do that in anticipation to what the followers want. So ask yourself, what do we want from our leaders? And why haven't we forced them to do that? Simple forensic audit. Is that a problem? We are going to have elections. There are political parties. For the first time, we have 13 of them. And I think leadership has sunk so low that everybody thinks they can be a leader. Yesterday, I saw Cheddar. He said that when you go, all you have to look for is somebody with a bushy hair, and then you see me and vote for me. That's interesting. But then we have a voter register. Some are complaining that, look, there are some things that you have to change. UNDP said, we want to come and look at it and then see if there's anything. Companies with internal auditors, don't they bring external auditors? Does it mean there's anything wrong? They look at the same accounts and say, oh, it represents a true state of affairs. There's nothing wrong. Everybody is fine. Then the electoral commission said, no, we will not allow that. You see, so little things. And I had a friend from UK who called me and said, I think you are learning a lot from your people. Because simple things become complicated here. It's so simple. You know, your job is to provide a credible, free, and fair elections. The people who are contesting are saying that we think that the document, everybody who is supposed to vote, there are some names that are not supposed to be there. We open the books, we check, everybody is okay. Peace in the neighborhood, right? We all go and vote. Whoever gets the popular vote wins. Is this a problem? But it's a problem in Africa. You see our problem? We create problem where there's none. But that is us. Go to the ministries, go to any government institution, trying to simple paperwork, and see how your fellow humans will frustrate you. But there you have people sitting here, so you are registering a company. You go there, they'll give you this, go to this next desk. They are all in the same building, one after the other. By the time you leave the next 30 minutes, you have all your certificate of incorporation and you are starting your business. They will never frustrate you. But here, oh boy. So, I'm telling you this because you have to be the change. If there's no change, you will have to be the change. Voltaire was a very smart French philosopher. He said, judge a person by the quality of their questions, not the quality of their answers. Ask good questions. Ask questions. Ask your parents. If your parents come home with a car, your parents is a politician, you know that their salary can never buy a car. Ask them, Dad, where did you get the money from? Ask questions. Yes, ask questions. Because any white person abroad will ask their parents, where did you get the money from? You are holding your parents accountable. We don't ask questions. We don't. Ask questions. Ask questions. You guys are not asking questions. You are in a university, if there's something wrong here, ask questions, right? You get answers. The will not take you anywhere. See people who have done committed suicide and died before. Does that solve the problem? It doesn't. So please ask questions. Because you are part of the system. If it does well, if the roads are good, won't you all enjoy it? Yes. Do you care which political party did it? No. If the water is good, we enjoy it. If the schools are good, if the hospitals are good. A friend of mine stayed in America 25 years, came home, he told me, oh, I've come to stay. And the first question he asked me, so how have you been able to stay for the past 2 years? They are all shocked. And I said, but I wasn't deported. This is my home. I'm from here. And they still don't get it. Well, he said, okay, I've also come to stay. He went to high school there. He spent about 45 years abroad. He's a lawyer there. So he came, went to Kumasi. He called me, I've come to stay. And then after 1 month, he called me, said, oh, I'm at the airport. What are you doing? He said, I'm going back. Why? He said, he fell sick. They took him to Okomfanoche Hospital. And then when he woke up, I think he had some mild stroke. And then when he woke up, the bed that he was laying on had some stained urine. And he said, what? That very day, he bought a ticket online and he left. He left. See? So we will get there. I believe that we'll get there. We have all the human resources. You guys are well educated. You are smart. They are not smarter than you. They are not. I've taught many, millions of white folks. They are not smarter than you. You guys are really smart. Just that no matter how good you are, if you don't live in an efficient system, you cannot perform well to your maximum. So it's the system that we need to fix. And it means ask questions because we'll eventually get there. Thank you.